Captures Alanu! That is huge! They've amped out the embers of Beyond's offensive core. Let's hope they've got enough damage to back it up. Spiritedbook though will not be denied. Gripped out, Ian swept away, Paranoid to the sky with a double! Holy strat stands, break the curse! Rampage there for Sifu. He is tied for them after 4 long seasons of setbacks and second places. The Oscar goes to Book and the Bad News Bears. They will take Glacier Final.
Trying to go on me. Terrific.
He's an army ult on me. He's an army ult on me.
Naja ult on me. Take this fight, boys. We win it.
Yeah.
Don't let them back. Don't let them back.
I'm just certain.
All right, boys. Let's become champions. Run this shit down. Is it on me? Is it on me? She's here. She's here. Kill her. Kill her. Kill her. Titan. Still ult. Go straight to Titan.
That's
hold down.
Go Titan. That's game, boys.
That's game.
Marshall
You gotta take this. You gotta take this.
National
Let's fucking go.
champion.
Let's fucking go. Shred it. Get us out of this game. Now let's go big. G fucking boys.
Here we go, boys.
Let's fucking go.
That's 10 all. He's half. Come back.
Nice.
10 seconds. I'm up in 9.
Nice.
Good damage.
Be careful, this one. Run.
Dude, get the fuck out of here, dude. Welcome back, guys, to the Warriors of Albion Greenroom podcast. I'm your host, Spiritedbook. I told you I was gonna YouTube it, man. What's up, guys?
Hell yeah, dude.
It's your boy, Spiritedbook, here with another episode of the Greenroom podcast. Joined here by my lovely co-host, it's Hydra.
It's your boy. You already know. It's _Hydra.
Back with another
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Back with another YouTube/Twitch stream here for you guys to watch some fantastic Smite content here in the amateur scene. Let's get it in. Let's get right into it today.
Yep.
Yeah,
Let's get straight into it, boys.
Let's get straight into the action. Yeah, this has been a fantastic week. I think of lots of spiciness. How are things for you, Hydra?
I mean, things are obviously interesting for me. It's a really interesting week for me specifically, and we'll get more into it when we talk about the breakdown of all the teams and stuff in general. But it's been good for me. How have you been doing this last week, man? How's Shifter Shield treating you in ADC?
I mean, listen, man, Shifter Shield, it's just that good, man. Like, I hate to say it.
It's busted.
If the tanks are gonna build it, man, surely I just have to conform and also build the OP item that is Shifter Shield. If you can't beat them, join them. And so I had to join them.
Yeah, I mean, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit later as well. But there was a bonus balance today that kind of touched Shifter Shield. Maybe not enough. But
I think
we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. I think it's okay the way it's going to be, but because of buff another item. But I do want to note before we get started, Sunday was drama fest across different things. I watched Formula One during the day, and for those who are big F1 fans, know that race was just drama fest central. So,
that's so true.
My Sunday was very dramatic. Other things happened in U.S. politics, but we won't get into that.
Yeah. A different race,
Different race. Something
presidential
very
race.
dramatic happened there. So my Sunday was, and then my OSL set, which always has drama. So
yeah, exactly.
It was just a drama Sunday for me this past weekend. Same old.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I got someone like an Avenger, I'm chilling back, like my Sundays are pretty chill. I get to watch a lot of content, because I'm a bench rider this season. And then, my phone vibrates like it's like something the Avengers, and it's like, yo, like you're ready, like here we are. And I'm like, what?
We summon you
now I gotta answer the call.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like the bat signal, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the Hydra signal. So
is the Hydra signal just a big, like that Chibi Cthulhu monster in the sky?
Oh, honestly, yeah. It's the Tifa Cthulhu ultimate. It vibrates your phone. Oh yeah.
Just shines across the night sky. Seen
Yeah, that's my favorite
on the
Smite
clouds.
skin, by the way, in case
Oh.
anyone didn't know. That's my favorite T5.
10 out
for
of 10.
sure.
All right.
Oh, it's so good.
Let's.
Well, I think we just hop right into the action. There's a lot to cover, a lot to talk about, and I have a set at 8 p.m. today. So.
Oh, okay. So we got to wrap things up. Yeah. Let's talk about what kind of happened.
Timely about it.
So.
Yeah. Well.
We had Athens start out the week.
Yeah.
The boys played, and we're talking Warriors. Well, this is a Warriors of Albion recap here, so we'll talk about the Athens team first. They played 2 games on Sunday.
They double blocked.
They did double block, and well, I think because of scheduling issues, they could not schedule both games, or like they couldn't schedule last week's game, so they ended up moving it to this week. So we are talking about that. Don't end up winning either of those games, those sets.
Which is unlucky.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the week 3 match? Because I guess they played the week 3 match first, unironically. Like the week 2 matchup was after, which is funny.
So I did not watch these games really. So if you have more insight than I do on these games, feel free to yap away about what kind of went on.
I got you. I watched both these games pretty closely. Not so much the Going Ghost and Where's Albion game, which was the first one of the day that they played, but I did watch the Food Fighters Where's Albion game. That was their week 2 matchup, then getting rescheduled to be a little bit later.
Yeah.
But we can talk about first the Going Ghost and Where's Albion matchup. First of all, this matchup was actually really interesting because it has 2 people on the last season Where's Albion Athens roster playing against each other, being Aztec and Kamo. So no bad blood, obviously just like a really cool storyline there, see where these 2 former teammates are going to end up playing. But Going Ghost go into this matchup with a jungle substitute.
Yes.
Kernoin, who we've played with before.
Shout outs to my I mean, I played with him. Yeah, we've played with him in AGL for AGL Glacier Finals.
He helped us get our title for the Glacier Finals. He's part of the Avengers trailer of Bad News Bears. So.
And then I played with him last season in Sparta for Going Ghost as well. So he's pretty good, man. But
I mean, shout outs to, first of all, just one shout out to Kernoin for playing absolutely sick in that set. I mean, for you to be a Sparta player and coming up to an Athens set against a really good team, you're playing against Swaga. Like Swaga's no slouch when it comes into the jungle, and Kernoin ends up going 5-2 and 12 on Erlong Shen. They let him have Erlong Shen for some reason, and then in the second game they let him have a Willix, which is his favorite character. 5-2 and 13 on that pick. Had a really good showing, good PD numbers, good KDA, really good impact across the board out of Kernoin. So shout out to the Sparta call up. So gotta love that.
Yeah, I mean it happens, but I mean this is not a good look for the Warriors of Albion team. They did not win in a matchup. I think, obviously Kernoin is not the worst jungler in the world, but when you come in with a jungle sub in Athens, I feel like your team should be mostly doom and gloom to an extent. But that was clearly not the case for Going Ghost, and I think Warriors of Albion continue to be a team that struggles to find a good identity and then really work past their issues as a team.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I mean, we've seen it in the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
With Golden Apple in week 1, their week 1 matchup, where it wasn't like the cleanest smite. Like they're still winning, but it wasn't super clean. Maybe they weren't on the same page. And I think that may have showed this week a little bit more. They came into a week 2 and week 3 matchup in the same day, so they're double blocking. It seems like they just didn't have a good game plan.
Yeah.
Or maybe if they had a game plan, they just didn't execute it correctly.
I think part of it is also this team is very good just mechanically, like pure mechanics is like a lot of them are really good. Like Valve is just a really good mechanical player. Renown's really good mechanical player. Swaga is, I think, all mechanics. And then, but I think as the season goes on, like teams really start to find form in OSL. And this is kind of what's so cool about draft leagues is like teams and players who have kind of maybe played together before or maybe haven't played together at all really find an identity with each other. And I think those are the best teams versus I think a Warriors of Albion roster that clearly have not found an identity and haven't managed to mesh and haven't improved versus teams that are improving.
Yeah, exactly. I think I think every team, especially the Going Ghost team, like the Going Ghost team is like a C host Aztec. Like it's not a slouching roster. Bayou from Sparta, as a call up this season, he kind of graduated from Sparta to Athens. A true story, really sick support. And even with their even with their jungle sub, you know, Stewie obviously is a really good jungler, but Kernoin played sick. You know, teams like that, like, you know, where they can get like their Sparta sub to come in and they're so like cohesive as another like 4-man unit, like teams like that are going to find a lot of success, I think.
Yeah.
So, but going into the next matchup,
so
Food Fighters also double blocked this week, by the way. Food Fighters also had scheduling issues, I guess, last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they also played another game. They played Blood Wardens. They ended up 2-0ing Blood Wardens in like an upset. But then we get Warriors Albion versus Food Fighters. In this game, I actually don't know 100% of the reason.
Shout out to Seafood.
Seafood did play for Food Fighters, so my GOAT goes 9-1 and 7 on each show. So it seems like both teams had subs. Swagga wasn't playing for the Warriors Albion roster. No idea why.
So it
could have been time constraints, or
I think this was a decision. I think so obviously you got a new support coming in, pun install. Dilf playing ADC and Kona playing jungle, their main role. I can leak why. You could say, or you could just say why Swagga. You don't have to leak it.
Feel free, feel free to tell us. Because you know, I wasn't present for any like talk or anything like that.
I assume it's because the team has just not worked, but it happens. Anyways, but like, yeah, I mean, the team ends up losing this one 2-0 as well, and kind of gets stomped here by Food Fighters. Which, honestly, if the Food Fighters matchup, like they obviously took down Blood Wardens, and that's an upset. So I mean, once you kind of take down a game like that, and you go up against the struggling Warriors of Albion roster, I think your confidence level is just through the roof. So I mean, yeah, I do think they were kind of riding the high from the previous set. You know, getting a good 2-0 win. Sun Pride comes in and he was like, "Hey yo, I want to play Cabrakan." Plays Cabrakan jungle, and he was messing some people up. You know what I mean? Like that Cabrakan jungle was being kind of filthy. So yeah, put on the block after
Swagga did
set one, and they decided they wanted to try NMR jungle. Honestly, understandable. I feel like, yeah. I mean, no offense, Swagga. Try not to take this personally, but you are not a draft league player, and it shows, and everyone kind of knows it. So,
well, at least I don't know. Like putting someone like if I have 2 sets scheduled on the same day, I'm playing at least both sets. You know, before I try to make changes.
I mean, yes, and no. I mean, I think at this point you do have to try. If a team is not working out, I think you've had to try to force a change at some point. So, yeah, and so we'll get into transactions in a bit. Yeah. Actually, these aren't even up in transactions. I don't know if we can talk about them.
I'll talk about it because I'm a part of it anyway.
Okay. Well, we can talk about it.
Yeah, I can talk about the ones that I know of, like the ones that I'm directly a part of, and then
I know
anything
all
beyond
of
that,
them. So I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but you know, I'm not going to talk on the ones that aren't posted. I'm just talking on the one that I'm a part of.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So obviously, we get through that one, and then there's ours. We'll come back to ours because we have to go through all of Sparta as well. And then let's talk about Delphi. So Delphi played up against the Heart Showers. Delphi continued to struggle a little bit and end up losing. 0-2.
Yeah. I think the Delphi team has kind of struggled this season. And I'm not exactly sure where to start, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Love all the guys on the Delphi roster, but it seems like, I mean, like they're kind of just like losing, like pretty cleanly 0-2. And it's like, obviously, like, you know, any of the team members, you know, like they can speak on it themselves, you know, like they can obviously like, you know, let you guys know, you know, how their game plans are like going, like maybe like what for them isn't working. But, you know, like, at least in my opinion, like if you're getting things like Freya, Horus, Erlong Shen, King Arthur, like how's a comp like that losing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's getting like, Freya 2 games in a row and not able to take a win off either of them, I think is really shows that the character just isn't as either the character isn't as good or maybe like the other characters are just higher prio. I mean, like there's Medusa. That character's
busted.
But like
I think
versus Medusa, Bacchus, like I don't know, man. I feel like you're kind of giving. I almost wonder if game 1 it was they first picked it, and then or no. Are they? No, they're red sides. Yeah, I don't know actually what went on.
Yeah, like, you know, again, I wasn't able to actually watch the Delphi matchup too closely because, you know, I was tuned in for Athens time period that day. I was kind of looking at that set instead. I didn't get a chance to go back and watch.
Oh no, 6k damage game 2 on Freya.
Yeah. Like some things not coming to fruition with this team. I wonder if Again, like, the Athens roster struggled this last week, and they were looking to make changes. I wonder if the Delphi roster is going to go like in a similar way. Maybe they look to make some roster changes and see if they can figure out something. Maybe something can work for them. So.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know.
I think some serious changes and discussions need to be had about this team, about the roster, but as well as about the playstyle. Like, I think their priority of certain characters just isn't as prevalent. I agree. Which is interesting. There's a Zeus game here because we also played Zeus.
Dude,
so we'll come back.
Zeus
to that.
is juicing right now, man.
Zeus is juicing with shifters.
Zeus is juicing. Yep. All right. Well, on the Crete.
Yeah.
So Crete, they played Fagart this week. It was casted on the OSL channel, so if you guys want to check out the Olympic Smite League channel and watch that whole game, that whole set back, it was interesting. It was an interesting game. I dove deeper into the Crete set on my own personal Twitch channel, chaotic_Hydra. I did an OSL Crete deep dive where I analyzed why it's important for you to have a game plan, and if you have a game plan, to stick to it. So game 1, game 2, game 1, whereas Albion lose it. Game 2, they end up winning it. Both were basically stomps in one direction or the other, so let's not talk about those too much. Game 3, however, whereas Albion drafted a full dive comp, and so did Fagard. So this match came down to who was going to get dove harder. Yeah. And something that I talked about on my stream earlier was if you're drafting full dive, you can't just not commit to being a full dive comp. So to give you guys a peek behind the curtain, they end up their dive was like Robin, Kuzenbo, and Mulan. It's like a pretty decent dive. And then like the Robin and the Kuzenbo would go back to peel for the backline during the dive, and then the Mulan would die, and then the backline's dead anyway because they're getting dove by Camelot and Wukong, and it was just really split. And it wasn't like they threw the game, like they threw the game several times, by the way. They could have won the game like 8 different times, and I analyzed why. But there was this one fight where if they just commit to being a full dive comp, they would have won the game in 30 minutes. Like it was great. But they end up falling down. They end up losing 1-2 in favor of Fagard. So Fagard ends up taking the 2 points in the set. And people in the AP poll were saying that this is the Crete team's first real test. I don't believe that. I think they've had a really decent schedule. They played Royal Jesters Crete already, which is a really high performing team. I don't think they've lost unless they've lost towards Albion, which is actually funny. And they lost to them 1-2. So again, if I'm Warriors Albion and Crete, I'm not like panicking. I'm not like, we need to blow up the roster or anything like that.
No.
But you're definitely looking back at that game and you're learning a lot, I think. So
yeah, and like I'm looking at this composition and like I'm like, man, like this comp can benefit from a mid being a Tiamat or the Charybdis being a different character a little bit, and like I feel like this comp is just so good in game 3. I also think Sypha did not do herself any favors by going a full pen build when a shifters actually is the best. Well, that is the best item here in this game 3. Like a shifters would keep them alive to do that extra bit of damage, help them in diving and going forward as a Charybdis. And they did the build game 1 and they didn't end up winning. And then they just switched to a full pen build. I think they ended up winning. And maybe that was the bias of like the build obviously didn't work game 1. We want it with game 2, and then game 3 is just the same pen build when. And that's the thing, like we talked about it last week, I think ADCs really do have so many build options that is going to be a big issue with the lower level teams like Crete, like Delphi, is I think the ADCs there. And even some in Sparta I've noticed as well are just like default building a lot right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think ADC is a role that like, ADCs have been used to building like the same thing because it just is the best thing for like so long, and now that's not really the case. So.
Right. The ADCs that actually like have to think, like the ADCs have to think now. And I think for a lot of ADCs, like it's really difficult for them to like understand, like, why is this item good here? Why would I build this build here? When can I go crit versus when can I not go crit? Because crit is still semi-viable here in this meta. You just have to know how to like play around when it is good. And that's the thing. Again, like the teams and the players themselves just don't fully understand their roles in a team, or they don't fully understand why they should build what they're building in the moment. So it just takes a lot of experience and a lot of learning before like someone can really figure something like that out.
Yeah, and, I agree. I think that's true.
I like to think I have a very good understanding of like those different build paths right now, and that is because I've been playing this game for 9+ years at this point. So I feel like I'm doing something right now. So
all right, Smite Unk, you got it.
What is it?
You reached Smite Unk status.
Season 2. So what is that? 9 years?
Ooh. something like that.
9
yeah.
years at this point. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been a while, man. I'm becoming a grandpa at this point, man.
Yeah, Smite Gramps.
Smite
Oh, gosh.
Gramps. Let's talk Sparta.
Yeah, let's talk about Sparta. Sparta had a really interesting week, I think, this week.
Yeah.
Obviously, last week you guys ended up losing, to a matchup where I think you guys absolutely could have won it, but you guys just struggled last week. This week, though, you guys, I think, make a pretty good bounce back. You guys end up 2-0ing the Bards College.
Yep.
Game one, I think, was pretty interesting. If you want to talk about your game one a little bit more.
Yeah, I think we kind of got everything we thought we would get. I mean,
Yeah.
on I keep saying want to say blue side because I'm casting too much League. On like order
Yep.
side, like first pick, you really do want to be like, I think prioritizing something like a Bacchus to just like initiate for us is just so good, man. And like that character is so stupid. 15-2 in Sparta right now, so. I mean,
Yeah, that character is not
that
losing in
character
Sparta.
is so good right now. It's insane. So I feel like that character needs
that's
to
a
be,
wild statistic to even have.
Yeah,
by the way.
15-2.
That's actually insane.
15-2. 17 games, he's won 15 of them. So he must be doing
Yeah.
something right.
Sparta players, please ban it, please.
Yeah, pick or ban
Please.
it, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think game one we kind of got everything we wanted, which was a full dive comp, and we said Bacchus tangents. We got a full dive comp, which like one thing I do want to credit us for, like after our set last week, we really just kind of sat down and said, this is the meta we should be playing versus, and we had a really good week of scrims. I mean, we scrimmed the Bards College team before we played them, and I think in our very first game, we immediately figured out what our meta was, and we said, this is what we're going to play on Sunday. This is how we need to play on Sunday. And then we just experimented a lot throughout the week and tried some different ideas, but I think really facilitated on the idea of just diving backline. And that's why I love the Apollo pick right now. Character can build
It's so
crit,
good, actually, but
build crit,
dude.
and then just dive a backliner and one-shot them when you land. And then once a backliner is dead and you're in a 4v5 situation now, favoring your team, you can whittle down the front line with the help of your different characters.
Right. I do think in a meta where, like, frontliners like myself are going to be like, oh, yeah, ADC is such a bad role. Like, why not just slam in like an Apollo and like, oh, like the Apollo's going to get dope. He's going to go in the air and dive on the backline anyway. Like, fuck it.
Yeah, if I'm dying, I'm doing it to kill a carry. Like, I'm the new assassin at this point. And game one was really good. It was kind of back and forth for a bit, but I feel like we kind of had control most of the game. We played really well around objectives and really played for the late game. And then
you guys had more than a 15k gold lead by the end of game one. Like, you guys
we
really ran away with it.
Yeah, I think I think it was like one good fight around gold free, and again, we just killed the Poseidon at the start of a fight. Like as soon as I got, I think the dominance, I want to say it was dominance or fail not. Suddenly we just started grouping as 5 and team fighting as 5, and as soon as that happened, the game we just ran away with the game.
Right.
And then game 2 happened.
Yeah, game 2 did happen.
I think we just drafted them. I mean, they took blue side, they took order side. They first picked Apollo, and I said we're just gonna win this game.
Yeah, so I think so I want to talk about this Bards College team a little bit, really quickly. So in game 1, they opened like out of the gate going like 5-0 on you guys. Like you guys were kind of down. Your side lanes were dying.
Game 1 was a really good early game draft. Like.
Yeah, they drafted Jungle Athena for anyone that isn't aware of that set. Their jungler realty really likes to go to picks like Mammon and Athena, and I think their team looked really good on the Athena. I
did crit him for 1,800 damage in 2 autos at the end of the game though.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think in game 2, you have this you have a comp that like. Just to be very frank, they had like the kill counter was 21-3. The game ended in like 22 minutes. Like it was a really, really shutout kind of game 2. And like I think if you're like locking in picks, like they took Apollo away from you obviously, and then you just went Medusa and just built Shifter Shield anyway.
Shoutouts to Rekka for that idea to go Medusa, because I was like I could play Bog, I play Jingwei, I could play Hachi. He's like, what about Medusa?
Yeah.
Surely Medusa cooks here. And I was like, yeah, let's go Medusa. So
yeah, like you guys went Medusa, Horus, dual lane, Apollo can't live that. So like So like, unlike your Apollo game where like your Apollo just kind of gets to sit in lane and sing "Payphone" by Maroon 5, their Apollo had a Terra that ends up I think getting first blooded.
Yes.
In that game.
I think on the third or fourth. I think on the third wave we first blooded Doomed. It was third or fourth wave. I can't remember, but we did first blood Doom
really soon.
We as soon as he died, I'm like, this game's so over. I was like, if we're getting these lane kills, and then yeah.
Yeah, you had Bud Nen on the shock. He ends up getting ganked by the Robin, and then the Robin sits in the cooldown buff, and he TPs back in and kills him again.
That was so funny to watch.
At that point, like, I'm looking at an Amaterasu with the lead, and I'm like, this game's Jover, dude. Like, more Jover than a presidential race. It's so Jover,
It's so Jover, man.
Yeah, it's so Jover. They were never coming Barak from that one.
Indeed. Yeah,
sure. And then like obviously the Moana had no lane to gank because like what are you gonna gank the Zeus with Shifter Shield and alt time lane? No way.
Yeah, I think we just kind of said like let's just like win early game here, and I do agree with what Zexy and I think Kalanu were saying after the game was that's how you win a game of Smite in the early game. Like you just win in lanes and then you snowball around objectives and you never let the foot off the gas. You just keep invading. And looking for pressure. Like that was a perfect example of how to win with early pressure against a comp like this that really doesn't do a lot in the early game. So yeah.
Well, to be fair, you guys did build 4 Shifter Shields and they only built 1. So I think you guys just deserve the win more, honestly.
Honestly, so true, man. So true. The worst part of the conversations to stem from this set was everyone in Sparta complaining about our builds. And
you win.
And we won. You won. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, everyone was like, yo, this ADC build is terrible. Death's Toll, Aussie, like, Shifters, Kins, Oboe, Titans. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, it's fine. It does exactly what I need it to. I get more autos off because I'm staying alive longer. The front line can't kill me, so I can trade back. Like, that's not what like, I don't know, man. Like, all these weird ADCs are like so like simple-minded in the idea of like must do highest capacity damage in least amount of autos. I'm like, that's not always what you need to do. And like, if you can
I mean, again, I think your job in this set wasn't even to like melt frontline. It was like get value off before my life's inevitably over. And Shifters prolonged your life.
Exactly.
So,
and like the best part of Shifters for an ADC is like you don't necessarily die at the end of a team fight. Like I think the meta right now is like you dive their backline before yours dies. And like still at times the trade can end up washed because both junglers can kill the enemy AD carry. A lot of our games this week in scrims when I would build Shifters is their ADC would die and I would survive despite being dove. And I think a lot of it was due to Shifters. Yeah,
that is bloated.
Agreed.
And we'll talk about maybe it's not as bloated after the nerf, spoiler alert, but but I think you guys had a really good showing this week. I'm excited to see you guys match for the next week, obviously.
We face Banshees, which we'll do predictions later for that.
Exactly. Next week we gotta go to transaction chat.
Yes,
and we'll talk about transactions that have been posted and the ones that have not been posted, the ones we're allowed to talk about, I think.
Yes. Build Shifters, got it. Next lesson. No, you can't.
Yeah, literally.
Well, I mean, I hate to say it. We'll talk about it a bit, but might not be building Shifters anymore.
Might not be it. Yeah.
Shifters carries might not be it anymore. You might have missed your mark.
That may have been you should have built it on Sunday, and now you've missed your mark. Yeah.
All right. So. Where are we looking at here? Transactions. So where did we, first of all, we have this hot mess here from Sparta, which we haven't. I think
we read it word for word and then read the breakdown.
All right. So last we ended off was the Elder Teddy trade, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Elder went to.
No. That's not true actually, because we didn't actually talk about the Humu. Okay, so KWM wave Humu.
Oh yeah. We gotta scroll up, don't we?
Yeah, just a little bit. KWM wave Humu. Humu is off that team. It's
for
gonna be
scheduling concerns.
Yes.
What it was.
Big Scary, and then we have a Crete trade. We have Big Scary Dargan sending Catastrophic 696 over on to La Jungla. Give them to blank. I can't actually see the name because again, streamer mode. I hate this.
It is Cthulhu Senpai.
Okay, gotcha. And then we once again continue on with Athens, and Elder is traded on over to Blood Wardens from Royal Gestures for Teddy.
Yep.
Now,
I think let's talk about these really quick first.
Okay.
So first of all, the KWM Athens team hasn't played yet. I think they might be playing today or tomorrow. So, so they haven't played their like next set. And to my knowledge, Snatty won't be playing in their next set because he has something else that's come up.
Okay.
So no idea what that roster is looking like, at least for this upcoming week.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on it. I'm excited to see if they can win their set this week. And then obviously, I think where's Albion trading?
Yes, we didn't talk about this.
We talked about it last week. Yeah. And I think the Elder and Teddy trade is interesting. Teddy has a very specific god pool. He's like, he's a Kali merchant. Likes himself some Thanatos, some Ravana. So interesting to see how he slots into the team. So, but now we talk about the mess.
Well, hang on. I'm so angry that I did this trade now. That it has gone through. So last week we talked about this trade where I was reached out to by Starry. Starry won Tunda, and I said, sure, let's make it happen. And I said, is Tunda going to be on a starting spot? And he said yes. And then I made the trade go through. I was given slag, and I'm happy I get slag. He seems happier here. And immediately, and first of all, they waited the entire week before they finally made the trade go through, which I don't know why, but they did. Yeah. And then as soon as they did, Starry goes in Spartan Captains and goes, I lied. Just very ominously says, I lied. And immediately, not long later, this whole blob is released. And it says, we'll start from the top. Going Go Sparta, part ways with Jinx, and return them to find themselves Kernoin. So Kernoin, who was on Skogs, is then traded over to Going Ghost. Jinx is no longer on Going Ghost. Kitsune toss over 2IC into the mix. And they get Jinx. 2IC is no longer on Kitsune. Jinx is now on Kitsune. That leaves Kern in the air. Sorry, that leaves 2IC now in the air. Yep. Skogs lose Kernoin, as mentioned previously, who went over to Going Ghost, and get 2IC in return. La Jungla get in on the action, sending away Arrow and Tunda to Going Ghost, who give them Bugle Wizard and is it D-Lizard? D-Lizard. Yeah. Yep. So to end it all off, we have Going Ghost, who has out of this trade acquired Kernoin, Tunda, and Arrow. La Jungla, who was acquired out of this trade, Bugle Wizard and D-Lizard. Kitsune, who has acquired Jinx Q, and Skogs have acquired 2IC.
What a mess.
I mean, I'm so mad. The only thing I'm actually happy about is that Tunda went to Going Ghost, and because that was where he was last season, and he seemed pretty happy to be there. Like, that is my only... Yeah, he does. He likes the org, and he likes Jolly. So, like, that is my only happiness to come out of that mess of a situation. But I would not have traded Tunda knowing that would be the case.
Well,
so
keep in mind that, like, if Kernoin doesn't end up going Ghost this week, the Going Ghost set in Athens may have looked differently because he got called up, man.
That is true.
Kernoin Goat would have traded in a pinch in the nick of time.
It would have been Jinx Q in Athens, man, and I don't know how I feel about that.
And I think Kernoin definitely was a stronger choice. If you had to pick one of the two to be your jungler, I definitely would have went with Kern.
Agreed.
So Kern is sick, dude.
We move on down to Delphi, which trades just Bryson, and I can't see the second name. Who's just Bryson and...
Oh, that's Venus Flytrap.
Oh, Venus.
From A&M.
Yeah.
My A&M goat.
Traded on over to the Skogs for Rough Marshmallow. So 2 players for 1 is quite interesting.
Yeah, I guess you just really wanted something, like you were missing, like, I guess one key piece for your team, and you just are willing to give up whatever you need to get it. So
yeah. And then you have Fagard, also in Delphi, trading away iCarly or iCharlie, I don't know. On over to...
It is iCharlie, but...
Okay. To Big Scary Dargans for Favor Saver.
Yep.
And then just a
Decent
simple...
trade.
Yeah. And then just a simple... not really trade, just a wave. The crew in Crete decide to wave Cud Kama into free agency. So nothing crazy there. But that have been trades for the week.
Yep. And then we get I'll talk about the one that we'll talk about that isn't posted yet, but it is it needs to go through whenever they announce it goes through. It won't be a surprise anymore, I guess.
It's true.
But I'm no longer on the Dargans. I was reached out. Well, I was reached out to by multiple people. But eventually Squishy hits me up, and Squishy's like, "Hey, like, do you want to play for Warriors Albion? They're looking to pick up a new support." And I was like, like, sure, man.
Why not?
Sure. He literally said, like, "Hey, I'll ship you out for pennies. I'm not really want to keep a brother hostage." So shout out to Squish for that. Obviously I love teaming with Squish. My first time playing in OSL period was with Squishy. I was a bench player in the Sparta team, and then I was his starting support in Athens in OSL season 2. So always loved to work with him. I fuck with the homie. I love him. So he ends up getting dummy slick in return for me. So he still has a support sub in case he needs to miss a game or something. That's the only reason I was there, was to just to be a decent fallback option that wouldn't downgrade the team's quality too much.
There you go.
I think you still get that with dummy. I think that's still fine. So, but yeah, I end up going to the Warriors Albion roster, and I will say that there's more roster changes that are being made actively or that have already been made, but they're not posted yet, so I'm not going to talk about them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very different Warriors of Albion roster.
I will say I do think the roster will be really different.
Yes.
No matter how the dust settles, you have your week 2 and week 3 matchup. In case you guys didn't know, the trade deadline is week 5, by the way. So if you want to start making changes, now is the time to start making changes. But yeah, you have a really rough week 2 and week 3. And you look at that and you're like, okay, like something's not working, something needs to change. And you look just to start making adjustments wherever you can.
You have to.
So I see not a Valve game is the captain of the team. I see Valve's reason for when they make changes like right now, before you get so late in the season where you can't make changes and feel comfortable about it.
Yeah. I agree. Which
I'm excited to see where the team settles.
Yeah, which is going to be interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't necessarily know if all the changes will be good, but we shall see.
Yeah, again, we'll see.
It'll be very different, which is what
it'll be a very different roster.
Yeah.
I will say that, before the season started, a lot of people were really high on this team, on the Warriors Albion Athens team coming in. And, and some teams click right away, and, they have like a really good showing, and they just kind of go cold for a little bit, and then they pop off again. We did say this before, that all 5 people on the roster that played this last week, and, the head-to-heads and stuff like that, they're all individually really talented players. Sometimes you just don't click. Sometimes your team gets a bad patch and you guys just don't click because the patch is just, not going your way, and you guys have some bad scrims and stuff like that. So do I think that this is a doomed roster? Not by any stretch.
No, agreed.
Even with the change, I don't think it's a doomed roster or anything like that. I think there's rosters that are definitely in worse shape than the Warriors Albion Athens roster. And if I was going to play the Warriors Albion Athens team, if I'm against that team coming with the next couple weeks, I'd be I wouldn't ride in like, oh, it's a free dub, I wouldn't be
it's not doing okay in Athens free dub.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not doing okay. It's not a Warriors Albion Athens last season roster, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So. Well, I'm not gonna say that. You were the captain of that team, but anyways.
Listen. True,
anyways,
but
yeah, I agree. I think there is a world where this team can come back and rise from the ashes, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we want to talk patch notes?
We can talk patch notes really quickly, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's just bonus balance, but everyone has been wanting something to change in the last couple of weeks, I feel.
Yeah, finally we get some important changes, bonus balance, and as you can see, this is for the 11.7 update, which is going live tomorrow. So starting off first, we have this, which I think is huge. The health not working properly for the Warlocks buff.
That's plus 100 HP right there for mid laners. Love to see that.
Added clarification on the description. Nothing crazy there. Just like
no nerf. Just clarifying what it does.
This is quite impactful, I think. Decrease health from 300 to 250. Decrease passive physical power from 30 to 20, which I think is the most impactful nerf here. And then decrease magical power from 45 to 30 on shifters, obviously. An item that has been dominating the meta.
I think your Sparta team is a great example of why this item is a problem.
Agreed.
Well, how it was in its current state.
Agreed.
Being the 30 power, 45 power.
Yeah.
I do think the item is still good. I think supports will still build it. I think solo laners will still build it. I don't think, unless you're building like an actual like hybrid jungle build, maybe you're not building it. Like Erlong is still probably going to build it.
Characters like Rat, characters who really want to get in there and like just be like a CC bot late game Like the hybrid characters, like Circat even could go a shifter shield.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't see ADCs picking it up. If they do, it'll be less.
Yeah.
And the build will be less effective. I do still see mid laners building it with that weird health build with E staff, Warlock staff, shifters.
Maybe.
Like, I can still see that build working, but it'll be like, cause like you're losing 50 HP on shifter shield, but you're gaining 100 on the Warlock staff. You're losing 10 power.
Right.
You're losing 15 power. So you're losing a little bit of power, but you're still getting similar or, maybe slightly more survivability because Warlock staff got fixed.
Yeah.
So maybe and E-Staff didn't get nerfed either.
I think
it's insane right now.
I think, and we'll come back to this in a bit. I think there is another change in this patch that does level out Shifter Shield a little bit.
True.
So then we have Arch Druids, which is decreased base damage per stack from 30 to 25. I mean, Arch Druids is just kind of dominating the meta right now, and you're seeing it in both support and solo on certain characters. So
yeah,
I think this is a fine. It doesn't kill the item. I think it just lowers it a little bit. Which I
I think this just pushes people to different options. Like me personally, I already wasn't a fan of building Arch Druids first. I think it's still good. I'm just more of a Cannoneer's T2 robe enjoyer right now because the stats you get on that rush is insane. But it's still viable. It just cuts down that damage by literally it cuts down by 30 damage, which isn't too much to kill it. So
no, not at all. And so next on we have a relic that has just been dominating tanks as of late. Thorns, the tier 1 is getting base damage decreased from 100 to 85, and that goes across all two upgrades as well. So I think that's fine. I mean, Thorns is just kind of really stupid good early game right now, and can really just help you to clear wave with it. You can kill the enemy ADC with it if you're not careful. I think it's just a very abusable item right now for tanks, and tanks are already so strong. Touching this down, I think is fine.
Yeah, again, I think personally that item's still busted. Thorns is still insanely OP.
Yeah.
So yeah. That item's still ridiculous. The mitigation you get on it helps you dive late game, and that's kind of the meta right now. And I think until you cut down the survivability people are getting with this relic and the return damage you're getting, I think it's still gonna be bot. So
we move on to two important changes. I think items being touched upon that need to be adjusted, and that I've kind of been saying need to be adjusted properly to the 9.5 revert. Long story short, Kins and Soul Revert both got changed after 9.5 to adjust for the appropriate health changes. They have now been shifted back to their original states pre 9.5 and how they were before. Huge. So I think this is fine. I think this Kins and Soul Reaver really does help with Shifter specifically, despite them lowering some of the HP, but you'll still be able to proc the full maximum Kins just a lot sooner now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think these items needed to get brought in line with the 9.5 changes anyway, so I think it's just healthy for them anyway. So
yeah, agreed. And then some god changes. You got some buffs not even a buff. Just properly stated that the enemies afflicted by frostbite deal 15% less damage.
Ymir can read.
Yes, Ymir can read. And then some immediate Erlong nerfs, which I'm quite surprised by. I mean, he's been okay, but he's not that good right now, in my opinion.
So I think so first of all, Erlong's not getting changed. I don't think this actually brings him down, in my opinion, at all. Okay. Because he still has he still gets the damage mitigation they added to his ultimate. He still outboxes everybody. He still has an insane lifesteal, and all of that was added to compensate for him losing his knockup, and he has his knockup back still. So yeah. But I think you're right. I think you're not seeing a lot of Erlong get locked in Athens or Sparta even. Some teams are going towards it in Sparta. Yeah. But you're seeing in that Delphi realm. That Delphi realm of play.
Yeah.
This character is a menace.
Unlucky, man.
And Crete people aren't coordinated enough to actually play the character correctly. At least in my opinion. So if you can get into the Delphi range of play and some lower Sparta level of play,
so we played
this character is unfair.
Yeah, we played it recently in our set in game 1, I want to say, and it was it was fine. Yeah, it was just a good character.
But Camazotz is still Camazotz. Robin's still Robin.
There's a lot of options.
There's other characters. Yeah.
Ardio, a partial revert here, decreased heal.
Huge nerf. Huge nerf.
Yeah, this is pretty significant from a max heal of 200 down to 120, which is very unfortunate here for the character because she just came back into the meta.
I am so okay with this. So in case you guys didn't know, in case you guys aren't RDO enjoyers, this is her one ability. If you hit this on 5 players, you heal 200 per player you hit. This is 1,000 heal. For you and your allies, by the way. This is not just on her. That was not okay, and that did need to go. But it does definitely hurt her relevance heavily. I mean,
down to 120, like down to 120 is a lot. Like
this is a straight up revert.
Yeah, this is a significant.
It is a straight up revert. They doubled this healing, thinking like, oh, we doubled Terra's healing and it was fine. But like this, like having 1,000 heal in your pocket was not okay for this character. And it just exacerbated the problem that she has right now at Phoenix Shield. So I don't think she was OP by any metric. I think she was just really, really strong.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess Phoenix Shield being in the game makes it pretty okay for her self-sustain. Like
I have a Dark Exodus in my chat saying should have let her heal for the full amount, but heal others for less. I think that would have been fine. Like cut her healing for others by 50%. I think it would have been balanced.
Oh, we could do this actually. I forgot to turn the chat on for this one in particular.
Oh, W. See, there we go.
There we go. Okay.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We move on to Horus, which is apparently a shift. When in reality, it kind of is
just a nerf.
Well, you say that, but like, it's so weird. It's such a weird change. Like, why are they making this a change? Like,
I think
this feels so insignificant that like it's just so weird. Like decreased prot reduction debuff, and they've lowered that, and then it's increased cooldown. So they're just making him more safe, I guess, with the cooldown.
Right.
Like I don't get it.
I mean, I think right now, 30 prots just being deleted from a character is really, really strong. Obviously, any locks them down in the process of peeling all their prots. So taking it down to 25 doesn't kill the character by any means. And you give him a second off of his dash, which lets him get aggressive more often in lane. Lets him be a little bit safer. He's a little bit more maneuverable. However, it is just it's still good that he's getting the cooldown reduction, but it is just a nerf. I think. 1 second CDR is not going to make 1 second CDR is not making up for 5 prots.
Which I don't understand. This is like the first time we've seen Horus in months. And finally,
and it's not like everyone's playing him. Like their team is seeing success with Horus, but
not everyone is playing the Horus right now. Like I don't understand this change really. So it was just like I'm kind of like, really, we're nerfing Horus like today, like of all characters that
keep in mind, man. Keep in mind, like lower levels of play. Athena's still really strong in lower levels of play, and Horus is just Athena with prot shred. So
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't get that one. Morgan Le Fay, I think this is a pretty significant buff. Consuming power, which I believe is her passive, if I'm not mistaken.
That's her passive, yeah.
Yep. So increased mark damage scaling from 8%.
Oh, sorry, that's her ultimate. My fault.
Oh, that's her ultimate. Sorry. Increased mark damage scaling from 8 to 10%. Increase projectile damage scaling from 40% to 45%, and added 50, 70, 90, 110, 130 heal per hit. So she's got this is a new effect, right? The healing, the self-sustain.
Well, she has sustain on already. It's percentage healing, and this is being added to it.
Okay, so this is just flat healing on top of the percentage healing already.
Yeah, if she hits more than
great, that's what we needed to do, man. Like
genuinely, again, we were seeing a health build already. She's already decent, which is my chat saying already. I think she wasn't insane.
No, she was fine. Awful. She was just your standard peel mage that existed. With CC
but now,
in her kit.
You need to build anti-heal on into her now. You will not outtrade her at all anymore.
That ultimate is very good now. Okay. I do like the mark scaling addition, because that is from the passive.
I'm a big fan.
Which is when you stack all the abilities on a target, and then you pop the ultimate.
And then you draw back the marks and stuff.
Yeah, and then you get the damage on them for that. I do like that change. I like that change. Because I always felt like Morgan Le Fay never really had a passive because of
hear me out here, right? So I'm a big Morgan Le Fay support enjoyer. Rejuvenating Hearts. Listen, Rejuvenating Heart, she's a healer now, man.
She's not a team healer though. She's a self-sustainer. That doesn't make her a support Hydra.
I'll catch you guys on stream tomorrow, 9 a.m. EST.
I'm redeeming a Kumba thing for you, just for you.
Oh God, no.
Moving on to Baba Yaga, a character I think has needed some help since the 9.5 revert.
Yep.
And needed some help, period. I think she's kind of been struggling a lot as of late because we are in a damage meta, and Baba Yaga is not really known for her damage, more her survivability.
Yeah, I agree. I think her burst has been kind of cut down over the last couple times she's been nerfed.
Yeah.
Which has hurt her for sure. And then her survivability isn't even all that wonderful. Stacking items are less relevant.
Yeah. I mean, Prophetic's kind of dead. now.
Yeah,
so.
prophetics. If you go prophetic on her, you kill your damage by 1 billion.
Yeah.
But now, hey, people are building warlock staff now. That's a build that's been kind of showing up. Maybe we see more Baba Yaga with the warlock staff build coming.
Probably. I mean,
Maybe
with these changes, increased damage mitigation to 35% at all ranks for her dash. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's good.
So you're getting the maximum effect of it.
Yeah, like
right
you're leveling
away.
that ability last anyway. So like that's basically a 10% mitigation buff on the 3.
Yeah, that's huge.
So,
that is a huge thing for this character. And then increased shield health scaling from 25% to 30% of her magical power, I think is also quite significant as well. So she's going to ult and be very difficult to kill, I think.
very tanky.
Yeah,
Very tanky.
which she did have this issue last patch when she built shifters, speaking from experience of dealing with the Baba Yaga in last week's set who built shifter shield, and we could not kill.
She was unkillable. She just didn't do damage.
Yeah, she actually did negative damage, but she could not die.
Yeah.
Then we move on to my
that's all you need.
favorite change of the patch, which is the Cernanos buffs. Increased damage on his. This is his passive, so the melee damage. Increased damage from 25% to 30% of his basic attack damage. That's quite huge.
Cool.
Bramble Blast increased damage from all that numbers to 65, 10, 100, 135, 170, 205 at max. Which is significant. That ability already is pretty solid. And then the decreased cooldown on the dash. So you're basically just having it up sooner at level 1. You're going from 17 seconds to 15 seconds at rank 1, which is quite huge. I think CERN is a combo character. You really want to be using his abilities in conjunction with each other. You're 2ing, then you're dashing in to get melee range. Like this just makes his combo that much stronger early game of like, you 2 the enemy carry, they have to beads. If they don't, you're dashing in, you're getting 2 melee autos off on them, maybe throwing in the ult into the mix to stop them from getting away, and they're dead. So,
I was talking to a lot of people about this actually earlier this morning. And so everyone has a pretty mixed take on this change. They're like, oh, it doesn't do a lot to bring the character back, or, we are so Barak. I think we need to look at what took this character out of the meta in the first place, and it was them nerfing Bramble Blast by 10 damage. That's really what took him out of the meta.
Yeah, exactly.
And now they've increased it by 10 damage, so now he gets the full clear wave.
Right.
I think he's fine right now. But now that we're seeing more ADCs have less, like they're focusing on surviving a lot more. Big teamfight ultimates are actually very, very valuable, and CERN has one of those.
Yeah.
He boxes really well in lane. I could see people adding this, sliding this character in some comps.
Yeah,
I don't think he's gonna be busted or anything, but I think he'll be good.
I think he'll be another option. I don't think he's gonna take over the ADC role by any means. I don't think with the shifters nerf, I actually think if he got this buff last patch, he probably would have been one of the best ADCs because CERN is notorious for being a character that can abuse these hybrid metas. He was really good when like shifters was meta in ADC last time. This is like season 4, I want to say.
Right.
So he's really good at abusing the hybrid items when they're good, but obviously that's not going to be the case next patch, I don't think. So wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up some play with a pen build. Maybe you could try out some crit on him. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think he's definitely stronger this patch now. Mm-hmm. And then our final change of this patch is the Jormungandr.
I'm so back.
Decreased rate at which Jorm's basic attacks frequency slows down by roughly 30%. I think is such a nice change for him. I've been wanting this for ages now. I've wanted to have more ability to continue spitting on people with the auto attacks because I feel like once your cooldowns are down, you are actually useless because your passive runs out so quickly. So I love this change.
Yeah, as the resident Yorm guy, as the guy that has been a Yorm truther for so long, I'm just saying we are so Barak, man. We're so Barak. Overall, though, I actually think the basic attack change is actually really, really nice for anybody that's playing Yorm. You can clear your buffs without being like it's not even it's just you're out of breath. He needs an inhaler when he's done clearing his blue buff. He sure does. Now you can actually just clear your blue buff and not feel miserable when when the minions are meeting. So I think that's actually really good for early pressure. The Venomous Haze is actually really, really dope. And the ultimate cooldown going down by 10 seconds, 90 seconds is already on a really short cooldown. I think this helps his safety in lane. It helps his pressure. Overall, you guys might see Jormungandr everywhere coming to a role near you. I'm a big fan.
I'm a huge Jorm ADC fan. So I mean, Might see some of that this week in scrims. You never know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Did Foo Fighters Athens get talked about? We did. We mentioned how our GOAT, Sifu, who's in the chat right
9-1.
now, 9-1-7.
You know, it happened, man.
Yeah, on the HL, had a clinical performance.
Yeah, and then obviously the 2 more changes, Venomous Haze, just a decreased mana cost, which I quite like. This character has notorious mana issues at time, and then decreased cooldown on the World Serpent makes him just a little bit safer for the early phase. So just going to be a little bit stronger next patch, and just a bit of like quality of life updates, I think.
We're hitting MMR cap with this one, boys. That's all I gotta say.
Surely
you guys
not.
will see Yorm support coming to a role near you. You see me in the queues, don't blink at me. Don't type at me, I'm muting you.
Don't type at me, I'm muting you. Oh my god.
No, simply.
Man, surely
but,
not.
oh well.
Good patch? Question mark?
I'm a fan. I don't think it actually does enough to shake up the meta too much. I think maybe ADCs just don't build shifters, but some ADCs already weren't sold on building shifters. You know, we still don't see Freya nerfs. We don't see Hasten Fatalis getting changed, and I don't think they actually want to change it until maybe the next big patch.
I want them to buff Fatalis by the next patch, man. I think that item needs a little help. I
don't think it does.
I think it needs a slight buff to Fatalis. Even just giving it like 5 attack speed would help it quite a bit and make it a little more viable. It's such a bad
the
item.
ADC across from me is coping.
It's such a bad item, man, that you can't build without any hunters. It's so bad, man.
I think with magical ADCs, you know, using it, and specifically just Freya. Freya's literally just the biggest abuse case, you know, like, you know, once Freya gets hit like Hecate and, you know, Hasten Fatalis, she's just better.
This is the problem with when they split Fatalis already into the different options, and they gave mages true Fatalis, but hunters fake Fatalis, and then they brought Fatalis back. They needed to just keep Fatalis ring as is. I think that would have been fine. And then
here's the thing, right?
Balance Fatalis Kronos for hunters and assassins.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, characters like Kronos and Freya, they would kill you on the cooldown of Hasten Ring. Like, oh, like, it's a 40-second cooldown, 30-second cooldown. Well, like, when this is up, I might be able to walk you down. Now they're killing you on the cooldown of their abilities instead, which is like 9-8 seconds. Yeah. So that and when they're in a state like that, they're just really hard to balance. I'm not saying they're impossible. Freya is impossible to balance. She's been through fucking 3 reworks. Like, let's just stop trying. Let's just remove her. Honestly, I'm so cool with that.
I can't wait for Smite. I can't wait to see what they do with her in Smite 2, man.
Smite 2, she's not gonna be she's gonna have normal auto. She's gonna be a warrior. She's gonna have an execute. I'm calling it.
She's gonna be a jungler. She's gonna be a mage jungler again, man. We're going back to the season 0, season 1 days where she was a mage jungler. Surely.
Yeah, but at least in my opinion, I think a lot of characters like Freya's one of them for sure. That they just don't need to be 1-for-1 translated into Smite 2 with the way that they're designed.
Agreed.
Obviously, they had a lot of trouble bringing her into Smite 1 in a balanced state, and they really struggled balancing her in the whole lifespan of Smite 1. Just don't deal with it for Smite 2. Just make her different.
Just make her to a toggle again, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think as long as they design characters with the same philosophy as they have Hecate, because Hecate is so fun to play in Smite 2. I think she's the best character that they've designed in a long time. You know, her ultimate's so fun. As long as they design characters with that kind of design philosophy in mind, just I think they'll be fine.
Yep.
One shot Freya OP. Yeah, no shot.
Shout out to Toggle,
Toggle Freya was something.
It was so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah, fun for you.
Yeah,
fun for you.
Are we good to? I think we're good to do predictions for next week's Sparta.
Yeah,
matches.
I think we do predictions, and we're good for the week.
Then we're done, man.
Let's pull the predictions.
All right. So these are our sets. Let's see if I can zoom in here a little bit, make it a little more. Oh, there we go. One more maybe. Let me just. Maybe one more. Let's test the boundaries a little bit.
All right. We're testing the boundaries, testing the waters.
All right.
Let's see.
But the problem is we can't. Okay, there we go. Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
On with the Mickey conference. I'm joking.
Oh, it's
There's
definitely
a Mickey conference in Sparta.
Yeah, and it's not ours. I'm gonna be real with you.
Yeah, that's so true. Want to start top down and just work our way down?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Blood Wardens versus Fallen Angels. Oh, we never actually recapped all the other teams. We got to recap all the other Sparta teams, actually.
Do we?
We never recapped all the Sparta teams. We didn't do that. Okay, we're backtracking. Right. We're backtracking. Let's do that before we do predictions.
Right. We'll do that, yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Let's start from the top of this week.
All right. Week 3.
It started out...
You want to go some Foo Fighters?
Yeah. pretty early in the week. Going Ghost versus Food Fighters, and Going Ghost 2-0 them. No real surprise here.
Going Ghost is an org right now. They're eating, bro.
They are.
2-0 in Athens, 2-0 in Sparta, 2-0 and I think in Crete as well.
2-0 or do you
Maybe I'm
3-0? Do you mean? Because we are in week. This was week 3.
Yeah. So 3-0, 3-0. my fault.
Okay.
I think they're doing really good, and I think their Delphi team might be struggling a little bit, but that's okay. Out of Norg though, they're eating, so love to see that. And Food Fighters are not eating as much, but they tried their best.
They did try. They had Nobo Fish in there, and that for game 1, and then Tova came back for game 2.
They tried their best.
They tried their best, man. And this team is this Food Fighters team is struggling.
Unlucky
for Tova.
They'll be better next week, surely.
And then we played our set. We talked about that earlier. We won 2-0. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Andrew's in the chat giving some insights. Says Tova was AFK game 1 and I was drunk the whole set. And you know what other team had someone drunk the whole set? Warriors of Albion and Crete. Noxus, my goat.
We move on with I would say a surprise victory here. Fallen Angels taking down Big Scary Dargans 2-1. With DGLIM subbing in for game 1, and I believe Czar then moved on over to support, and it's Sogno came in to play ADC for games 2 and 3.
Yeah, funny week. Funky week there. I'm sure they're trying some role swapping, some role changing. I think both teams are still in a pretty okay spot. Obviously, Fallen Angels, they should be proud for taking home the dub this week.
They've needed
I think a similar thing can, exactly. And I think a similar thing can be said with the next set we're going to talk about, KWM and Heart Showers. I mean, Heart Showers taking a game here, I think, is the most impressive. I mean, KWM, I think, is the top team of this division right now. And like, second top of the division and top of this conference. I think KWM are really good. I'm gonna let everybody in Sparta in on a little secret. If you ban Sun Wukong from The Expert, he looks a lot worse.
That is true.
You heard it here first.
That is true. I believe in that statement wholeheartedly. I mean, you look at the next game.
And he looks good.
1-10-10 on King Arthur.
Yeah, like literally, like just take him off the characters he wants to play, and you guys will win your set. Like, it's not like you don't got to ego him.
No,
like, even if you think you're better than him, he's really good on certain picks, and he's really not that good on the rest of them. So, I just, man,
OSL
ban Wukong.
OSL stream just started the 90-minute.
The 90-minute Delphi game's
game.
Crazy.
Yeah. Surely, you don't watch OSL. And you just come out and hang out with us and talk about Sparta drama, man.
I say, Vincent Chess said, I don't know about that Hydra. Listen, bro, I've seen him off of Wukong. I think he looks really good on Wukong, and then I don't think he feeds on other picks. I just have not been nearly as impressed as I have been with his Wukong gameplay.
I will say this about Expert. I have always been a proponent of Expert's playstyle being he's very good on characters that he can just get away with. So he can play like Tyr and Wukong and characters he can't get punished on for over positioning and getting caught out. He has a lot easier time of playing the game, which can be said for any solo laner. But I find
Vincent does have the intel, and it says that it shows a different story. So listen, in scrims, man, if you guys are scrimming and something else is working, I'm excited to see it translate to a game.
This is true.
But until I see it in a match report, I'm keeping the same narrative. So tell them to bring it next week.
Hydra is installing the narrative right here, right now. I am.
Yeah, listen, tell them to bring it next week in the next match, man. Of course, you can believe me or not because all I did was play Bacchus.
If you're not playing Bacchus right now, you're trolling. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, listen. 15-2 in Sparta, on the Bacchus. So that character is OP.
That character is OP
in Sparta.
Just play the good
stats. Wise, the stats don't lie. If you lock in Bacchus, you might just win the game.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot more Bacchus bans next weekend for Sparta for sure.
Yeah. The character didn't get nerfed either.
No, he did not. Let's talk about La Jungla versus Kitsune. So obviously
another 2-1.
But not for Kitsune.
Which is wild.
Well, so this is the thing is like Jay Swervy comes in to this team and I would argue just carried them in
I think he had a really good showing last week against you guys for sure. And then he's not playing this week?
Yeah, and so they pick up Jinx Q, and Jinx Q is playing for Kitsune and in jungle. So I'm kind of like, why is Jay Swervy not playing jungle and Jinx Q isn't playing support? Like, I don't understand this. I feel like Kitsune make fantastic changes to their roster that could only benefit them, and somehow, some way, they managed to screw it up again. Like
So guys, here's my favorite analogy.
Jay
that I've
wasn't
heard
available.
About.
Okay, that would make more. That it has to be
Okay,
the answer,
that's fair.
man.
That's fine.
It has
That's
to
fine.
be the
That's fine.
answer.
That's fine. Yeah, listen, if Jay Swerve's not available for the set, then simply schedule diff.
Yeah,
You know,
if it's
simply
a
that's
schedule diff, that's one thing. But like,
Yeah.
if this was a
That's simply a
conscious
schedule diff.
decision, like, I don't know.
Like justice for my goat Jay Swerve, bro. But I will say, someone else was talking about this the other day. They said, Liz Dexia, playing solo lane for this team, obviously, sometimes can capture lightning in a bottle, and you have a really, really like good couple weeks. And other times it's like a fart in a jar. Sometimes it just doesn't cook. And this week, I think obviously you end up. So yeah.
That is
Listen.
that is my favorite analogy I've ever heard. It's
You're not getting O2'd.
perfect. It's actually
You're not getting
perfect.
O2 this week if you're Kitsune. You still got a point. And you know
Wow.
what? You're happy with that. Especially if your desired roster wasn't available. Yeah, something came up an hour before the set. Okay, valid. Okay. Well, first of all, hope all is well with Jay Swerve then.
This is true.
Yeah, Jinx Q and Liz on a team on paper is recipe for disaster. Also, for some reason, Jinx Q dislikes support despite it being one of the most OP roles. We said all season that Jinx Q is a 6 support. I think he's fine in jungle, but I think his support's actually even better than his
Agreed.
jungle.
He just knows how to play the map, and he can control the map better from support better than he can jungle.
Hey, listen, if he dislikes support right now for whatever reason, let him stay in the role where he's happy, even though support's in the best state it's been in for a year and a half.
We did yeah, I agree.
So
we did miss talking about 2 sets as well. Blood Warden did take on the crew pretty early on, actually before the week got set. Yeah, so yeah. Okay. So and then
before the little slash line.
Bards and Skogs also played their set this week, which I think that's pretty interesting. We'll talk about the Blood Warden's crew set first. It went to 3 games. I think crew kind of muffed it a little bit in their drafting in a couple of these games. But I think
will say I actually did watch this whole set.
Okay.
And I will say that both teams throughout this whole set were lagging terribly.
Oh, this is true. That is true. Yes.
Like servers were dying. I think they restarted once, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm making that part up. But both teams were miserable. I will say Mario Bro looked pretty good in Game 3 versus Trey. That was an ADC head-to-head. I was actually excited to watch and see and break down. But I do think that this matchup, it ends up being a 2-1 in favor of Blood Warden, but I feel like this matchup was tainted due to the lag. I feel like it really could have went either way for, either team. And if I'm on either team, I'm happy with the way that you would have performed this week, despite servers being absolutely trash.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've showed some good, interesting performances. Adora, I think Game 3 has an absolutely stinker of a rat build. I'm not going to lie. This is actually so horrible to look at. I'm hating every second of it. Oh my God. And then Trey's shifter build does not impress me. I think it's pretty bad. And then, so I think just some small errors, I think, in some of their builds and I think drafting department that they could improve on for sure. But I agree, being tainted by lag is never fun.
Yeah, lightning in a bottle or fart in a jar. It was kind of the MO of build, I think, this week. If you're building Shifter Shield, are you building it the right way or the wrong way?
You can't use it for everything now, man. It was
listen, it's a good analogy, bro.
But it was perfect for Lizdexia only, man. That's the best way to describe their team.
You're right. I won't overuse it. But listen. Next week, if something happens, if they get 2-0'd or something, I'm gonna look in the camera and I'm gonna be like, listen, man, lightning in a bottle and I'm
fart in a jar.
Yeah, exactly. So
we rounded out the early games with Bards versus Skogs, and Bards. This game was streamed. 2-0 swept the Skogs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really big on the Skogs roster. First of all, with them having Bacon obviously playing really well, but they fall 2-0 to in my opinion. A Bards roster, I watched this game, and this Bards roster should have lost both games. Actually, they were in the position to lose. Skogs just decided to throw it.
Yeah,
they threw they really just threw this.
Bacon has a phenomenal performance of going 16-7 I mean,
Yeah.
Kratos does pretty well, 10 and 11. I think there was some lag in this game as well. I'm not too sure, but I mean, like, this is where I think the argument of the scrims we had against Bards, I think gave Bards a lot of knowledge of how to play the meta a little better. It also
and they took that in
yeah.
Smoke Skogs. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the way they drafted and the decisions they made, where they had Doomsauce play Achilles. That was a pick he played against us that we banned away in game 2, I believe. Just because, like,
I will say,
yeah,
you guys did, I know you guys like looked at these match reports beforehand before you guys played them this last week, because you guys didn't let Realty have Bass set after this performance.
We did not.
Ended up going 10-0-4. Did really, really good things for his team that set. And you guys were like, we're just not going to let him do that.
So we did ban it game 1. I don't think we banned it game 2, if I'm not mistaken. Or we banned it bottom 2, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I
maybe
agree.
it was bottom 2.
I agree. We did not let him really have that pick, because you're not going to feed the hot hand.
Yeah, exactly.
But like they were taking a lot of our ideas. They had the Apollo, the Bacchus. They prioritized the Chunga as well. Like, they just prioritized a lot of our picks that we had played in the scrims against them. And so
exactly.
They made that work.
They took the Warriors of Albion Sparta team meta and tried to copy it.
Yeah, and when you try to copy something, you don't do it as well. Moving on to predictions for this week.
Predictions for the week. Let's get on to it.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on.
Let's talk about it.
Blood Wardens versus Fallen Angels. We just talked about Fallen Angels getting their first win of the season, and Blood Wardens, this team is kind of on the rise, I think. Clearly a team that could struggle a little bit here and there, but definitely on the upper end, I guess. I think Blood Wardens is sitting in that point where they're just like at the top of the midfield, if that makes sense. Like, they're not a top team, but they're just at like the second. Like,
they're almost there.
It's RJ, Ghost, and then Blood Wardens. Like, Blood Wardens are not in those top 2, but they are right there.
Yep. I have to agree. I think this week I'm excited to see where the standout players on both teams are, how they're going to play. Obviously, Gatto had a 13-1-7 performance on Circuit this last week.
Finally had a good carry performance out of jungle, and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, he
so
looked
happy
great.
for him.
I mean, obviously, Zar had Freya and, didn't even pop off. Literally just kind of existed.
Yeah.
That team also played the horse, had a 4-0-14 performance on horse, looked really good on it. But like, Gatto had a great performance. If he can keep a performance like that, I think Blood Wardens will struggle to deal with it. If I have to vote on either team, though, I think this set's not going to be a 2-0 either way. I think it's going to be a 2-1.
Okay. I'm going to give it 2-1 Blood Wardens, but I'm going
to give it 2-1 Fallen Angels.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I think we're split.
Okay. Interesting.
I want to believe in Gato. I want to believe in my goat Griff.
I do
really
believe
bringing it home.
I do believe in the goat Griff. Griff. I think,
but to be fair, Mario Bro looked really, really good last week against Trey. He really impressed me. And I think that team's like macro is looking better.
Yes.
Not perfect, but better.
I think
so.
Blood Wardens are also doing something interesting right now where they're playing passive supports in a divey meta. And I think it's confusing teams a lot of the time on how to properly facilitate how to deal with it and like how to properly, because I think that the meta is right now is like dive the back line. And when the support just goes like the Peely supports, then you just have a hard time dealing with it. And I also think they're covering Blood Warden's biggest issues, which I do think their carries, despite being probably some of their best players, I think can also be the ones that make some of the most criminal mistakes. I think Mario Bro has not the best relic usage. I think Skull has some really bad relic usage at time that's very punishable.
For sure.
I think that they're covering for some of their issues, which is really great, but I think that like if Gatto has another carry performance, he can really expose some of those issues, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think 100%, especially if he plays like characters like Circuit that will one-shot you from like minute 6. So stuff like that, I think is going to be really, really good for them.
Yeah.
Well, next matchup.
Okay, RJ versus Food Fighters. This one's not even close. It's going to go RJ 2-0.
Oh yeah. Moving on. I don't even want to be mean. I don't even want to be mean, bro.
We could just let's just sweep it under the rug. And Big Scary Dargans versus Fagard is really interesting, though. I think. I agree. Do we want to talk about Food Fighters? Like, okay, I'll say this: RJ are the top team of. I mean, they won GA. and they are continuing to look really strong. That's what I'll say about RJ. They won GA and they're continuing to look strong, and they're keeping the momentum going into the regular season.
Well, here's my thing, right? So you have a Royal Justice roster that from the jump has come out, they've performed, they've meshed really well. Their scrims are going good. They have a good hold on the meta. They know their team's identity, what their strengths and their weaknesses are individually. And they openly talk about it. And like it's not like a bad environment for that team anyway. And you're going in against a team that struggled to find what works for you. And I feel like this isn't even like you would like if I'm Food Fighters, I want to go against a middle of the pack team like Blood Wardens, you know, like upper middle pack. You know, I think that's where like really where you want to like try and get your footing. Yeah. But against a team that ironically doesn't make a ton of mistakes, and even if they do, they capitalize more on other teams making more mistakes. Right. I think Food Fighters does not really have a shot to really punch back in a matchup like this. Now, if they take a game off them, if they win the whole set, I'm gonna be really surprised. Yeah, this is
the upset if it happens, man. Like this is the potential to be the upset.
This isn't even me shitting on Food Fighters. This is like I'm saying like if I'm on the Food Fighters roster this week, I'm saying let's get some practice. Let's lock in. If we win a game, it's an upset. If we win the set, the whole division's thrown into chaos. Like,
it's true.
Straight up.
The division is in shambles if Food Fighters win this week.
Yeah. So I wish them the best, but I'm a realist. You know, I like to be grounded in reality. Realistically speaking, Justice should probably just 2-0 Food Fighters. Yeah.
Agreed. Big Scary Dargans take on the Fagard team. Fagard, I think a team that is struggling a lot right now in finding an identity and like keeping to a consistent meta. So I think, you know, Big Scary Dargans, I think, are starting to find their meta. And then they're starting to, I think, figure things out a little bit. And I think this should be Big Scary Dargans. But Fagard, I think, is always that roster that can kind of come in and surprise you with an interesting or weird strategy and just like take a game off you.
Yeah. Here's my thing. Okay. So Big Scary Dargans, they came in last week. They actually ended up losing the set, 1-2. However, Ninja XK has a great performance, I think, even though he lost last week.
Ninja's having a good season.
He had a 13-1-6 Lancelot performance. I think if he can come back, and like really have like a really like good snap performance this week, which I think with the picks that are in the meta right now, and they're not triple banning him unless you really want to do that. I think it's actually really doable for him to just run away with the set here.
Yeah.
I think Ninja XK is having a really great breakout season here in Sparta. I'm really big on him. Give me the Dargans 2-1. I don't think Vagard's going to go down without a fight, but I do think they're going to go down at the end of the day, and I would love to see Ninja XK be a big part of that.
Okay. I think this is Big Scary Dargans that are going to 2-0 Fagard, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fagard take a game off them at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Going Ghost versus the Crew. I don't think Going Ghost are going to be scrimming much this week, so this should be interesting. But I think they should still take this matchup against the Crew. Going to be interesting to see how it goes, though.
Going Ghost is a really strong roster. They have Kernoin, who's high off of his Athens 2-0 win. He's walking into this set with some swagger.
Swagger, not to be confused with Swagger.
The Swagger, who he had, had dismantled in his Athens set. Obviously, you have Jolliver, you have Minnie, you have Kern. A really strong three-man cell for the team. One of the strongest three-man cells, I think, in Sparta. I think they're looking pretty hot.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas the Crew, I think they can look good sometimes, but it's not nearly as consistent as Going Ghost looking as good, as they can be. So I'm going to say Going Ghost 2-0.
Okay. I think it might be a 2-1, depending on how much the Crew can grow from this week of scrims, but I do agree it should be a 2-0 for Going Ghost.
Word.
But I think Crew are a team that are improving, and so I just don't know if they're there just yet. I mean, we scrim them tomorrow. I just don't think
you'll have more insight then, obviously.
I don't think they're there just yet at the point where they can like contest the top teams just yet. So
I do think if Blood Wardens are beating the Crew, I think Ghosts are beating the Crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Moving on to the other conference, the Achion, I guess is how you say it. I don't even know, man.
The fraud conference.
Whatever. KWM versus Skogs. KWM, I think, should just win this one 2-0. Unless the Skogs can come out with a better strategy than they did last time.
Yeah, I mean, again, Bacon had a good showing this last week. Silas is his rename, I believe.
Yep.
He had a good showing. And, if you have a good showing like that, I mean, I think it's just a matter of cleaning up errors that you've made and translating it to success.
Yeah, I imagine 2IC will also be starting, so Skogs are going to be playing with a new ADC, I would imagine. Maybe not.
KWM also did, they won their last set this week, but they did drop a game to Hard Showers.
That is true. But
which shows that, they can make mistakes that, can be punished, and then you can translate that to success. I think the set will be a 2-1 set, no matter how it goes.
Okay.
Or if it's a 2-0 set, both games will be extremely close, and it'll be a late game throne fight that'll determine who wins it.
Which, if that's the case, I think it'll be KWM who wins that set then.
Yeah, I agree. I think KWM is going to etch out a victory. I'm going to say it's 2-1.
Okay.
I do think there's a world where Skogs end up getting a game off KWM. But I do think, as a full roster, they're probably stronger right now.
Okay. I'm going to give it to KWM 2-0. I just think this team is riding hot right now. They're going to continue with this momentum, and I think they're going to win this matchup.
That's valid.
Bard's College versus La Jungla. I mean, I think La Jungla got a lot better from their trades. I think they have some more cohesion in what they're going to be playing. And I just think they're going to 2-0 Bards, a team that is very clearly struggling with lack of leadership. Lack of drafting ideas and like how they want to play the map and how they want to play the fights and games, and the comms are really bad. I think it's just going to be La Jungla 2-0 here.
Give it to me in Bards 2-1, actually.
You're going to give it to Bards 2-1?
I think Bards is
Dude, you can't say that. Death Guy's in the chat, man.
Listen. I think Death Guy's going to get costed somewhere. Actively though, I think Bards are a really inconsistent team, but I think that inconsistency makes them really volatile. I think it's hard to prep for a team like that. You can know what play style they're gonna go for, but maybe not exactly what picks they're looking to do it on. And then I think La Jungla, whereas they just made some trades. I think they have a pretty good idea of like the way they want to play the game. And they had a 3-game set, which there's 3 games of match reports to look at for Bards to look at to prep for this set. I think,
but I don't think Bards are a team that. Sorry, I'll let you finish and then
No, I can see your thought process for sure. But I do think if Bards lean into their identity, where we saw them game 1 against you guys this week, where they had an early game lead, and if they just push it, if they just translate that, I think it's actually gonna be hard for a team like La Jungla to actually try and shut that down.
Interesting.
But because they're inconsistent, I don't think it'll be a clean 2-0 victory. So I'm gonna root for Bards this week.
Damn.
And I'm gonna say they're gonna go 2-1, and if they lose 2-0 this week, I'm never voting for them again. So this is your one chance.
This is the one chance.
This is your one chance to get the Hydra vote.
Damn.
If you're on Bards College Sparta Division.
That's crazy, man.
I'm looking at you, real team.
That's crazy. Banshees versus Warriors of Albion. I am curious. Where overall standings? Or sorry, no, we want the Sparta standings.
Yep, Sparta standings.
Banshees are at the bottom. Surely that's not right. Is that right? Oh, they haven't played this week yet. That's why.
They haven't played this week yet.
Okay. So, we're actually second place. Nice. We'll go back here. What is it, week 4? Yeah. I don't know. Give me your thoughts on the Wailing Banshees versus Warriors of Albion. Just some random Warriors of Albion team, man.
Yeah, it's just some random shitters, how it is.
It's a bunch of goobers, if you ask me.
Yeah. Let me see. I want to make sure I'm pulling up the right roster, because I want to look at it.
It's
word.
Marm. Hunter is now playing mid, which I think is a bit of a downgrade for that team.
Yeah.
I think Reiku was just a little bit better for that team.
Marm will not be on controller for the first time in 6 years.
Oh shit.
That's huge. That's huge.
Shit.
Keyboard and mouse Marm.
Oh my god. Well, maybe not taking the win this week because he needs a week to get used to it. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. How many? Oh, yeah. Oh no, he's usually on keyboard and mouse. He played controller for his set last week
Okay.
for the first time in 6 years, so he was severely nerfed.
I see.
That's what it was.
I see.
That's what it was.
I got you.
Okay, thank you for the inside, Strat. Thank you for the inside. So it will not be setup diff this week.
That being said, Hydra.
I do think who was their mid laner before they had
Reiku. It's Reiku.
Hunter.
Who's gone to Food
Ooh.
Fighters. I think that's a downgrade personally. I think it's Reiku is really good. And like good mechanically.
Me personally, I think. Oh wait, first of all, is Warriors Albion gonna have their full roster this week? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
As far as I'm aware, unless there's an emergency situation, obviously.
Got it. Well, if it is if it's a full roster versus full roster, Strat's saying that it's an upgrade. It's a downgrade in mechanics, but an upgrade in team chemistry and shot calling. So if that's to be believed, I think it's going to be a really fun set to watch. But however, this is a green room. Give me more of the Albion Sparta division. 2-1 though. 2-1.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a test for us this week. I think we've had.
Yeah.
I don't want to say easy because obviously we lost to Kitsune, but I think full roster there, we have a better understanding of the meta. I think we're a much better team this week than we were when we faced Kitsune. We're on the way up.
I will say.
And so,
I think you guys are improving. I think every team's improving in Sparta, minus like maybe 2 of them. Mine's like maybe 2 of them. But like realistically speaking though, like the Bards College in game 1 did like make you guys like look human for about 15 minutes.
Sure, man.
And then they
threw
it away.
Sure, man. Sure, we'll go with that.
I mean, for sure. And then obviously in game 2, you guys looked godly. But I do think there's some small mistakes you guys, maybe can make that other teams can exploit in the early game. And then if they just don't make a mistake after that and they play their game correctly, they can win a game. They can win a set. I don't think you guys are invincible or anything like that, but I do think you guys are extremely good.
I agree.
So
I think it should be a good set.
I will say, I think it'll be a good set. I'm excited to see. I want to see how the new William Bench's team looks. Even if they lose the set, I think they just take it as, testing their team chemistry and like making the adaptations they need to for another set. Because realistically speaking, Warriors Albion Sparta division, they're one of the top teams in the conference.
Yeah, I think this will be a test for both teams to like see where they match up and where they really stand in the standings. I don't think Banshees have actually played week 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Not to my knowledge. At least I can't see them. I can't find the match report for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find who do they play. They play Skogs. So they've rescheduled.
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, so they haven't played it yet. I'm just trying to see.
Rescheduled maybe.
Rescheduled for Thursday at 7 EST.
Yes,
so it'll be on Thursday this week.
Playing Skogs on Thursday. Thank you, Strat. Thank you.
I mean, look, if they lose to Skogs this week, I think we're just going to 2-0 them.
Okay. Yeah.
If they win and it's close, like I think.
Even if they lose and it's close, I still think it's actually a competitive set for you guys.
If they get stomped by Skogs, it's not even close for us. I think if we play.
Yeah. So we'll see Thursday. Yeah. Maybe our official standing will change. But as of right now, I do think it might be a 2-1.
For who?
2-1 in favor of Warriors Albion. So you guys do win the set.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Last 100%. One of the week, we have Kitsune versus Heart Showers. For me, it's if Kitsune play with.
Will they have their full roster?
Well, they have their full roster. Is Jay Sorvey playing jungle and Jinx Q playing support? And if it's that roster, I think they can cook. But I also think Heart Showers are a team that, despite having not gotten the most success, they've taken games off of good teams. I mean, taking a game off of KWM, if you come in prepared for this set, I think there's a world that Heart Showers can win this set.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think depending on how bad the Kitsune draft is also. Yeah, because sometimes they draft really poorly. You might see a Heart Showers fucking 2-0, straight up.
Possibly.
So which I think that's pretty cool. I think that's actually really awesome. And I think that the fact that you can look at a air quotes bottom end team like Heart Showers and be like, oh, like they're still competitive. They're not gonna get 2-0'd out of the water every week. I think that's really good. I think that means the conference is healthy for sure.
I agree. I think everyone can arguably take games off of everyone in this division.
Yep. And we saw that this last week. There's like 4 2-1 sets.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I have a hard time saying that. Like I say that, but then I'm like, but we just played Bard's College, and like, it's so weird to me the way that like comp is right now. In that like, some people are here for fun, some people are here to like just vibe, and like some people are here to like take it seriously. Like I don't think Bard's prepped for us very well. Like they banned Ratatasker top 3, which is like, yes, we were gonna play it, sure, but like, but then you're letting through like the Bacchus, then you're well, yeah, like you're letting through the Bacchus, you're letting through like so many of our other picks. I'm like, I just don't think Bard's prepped well, and I'm like, who's prepping on that team? Like, are all these teams? I feel like Heart Showers are a team that's prepping really well for their opponents and what they want to play before their matches.
Is good.
Yeah, which is really good to see.
We like to see smart teams like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm happy to see Airhead on a pretty decent team, and this is very much the Friends vibe team, and it's showing because they're getting wins because of it.
Yeah, which is cool. I think that's always dope.
Yeah, agreed. And that is it for Sparta matches. That's the predictions.
Yeah, that's it.
Wait, well, no, we didn't talk about it. Who do you think is going to win? Kitsune or Heart Showers?
Oh, I think Kitsune will probably take it in 2-1.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to say Heart Showers 2-1.
Ooh, let's go. I always like rooting for the underdog. So
yeah, I think it's going to be it can be. I
think it'll be a good set.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be a good set for sure.
Yeah, but I also see a world where Kitsune come with that roster and either blow them out of the water or absolutely implode, because I don't think Jinx, Q, and Nelly are going to be a fantastic duo lane. But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right.
I do agree.
Are we good? We're good to wrap up the show.
I think that's good. Unless Chad had any like questions.
Oh yeah. Do we want to do? Let's do a quick Q&A. Chat, if you have any questions for Hydra and I, thoughts on OSL, thoughts on Smite, anything related to that, even just like questions to us in general, feel free to ask. You guys have 5 minutes, let's say. Let me see if I can. No, I can't do that. Okay.
And then I think next week we're gonna come with the tier list and we're gonna unveil that.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. We'll have to do that in advance.
I think it's mid-season at that point, because it's right before the trade deadline too. Or maybe we wait for week 5, because that is the trade deadline.
No, I think week 4, just because it's that is technically mid-season, because it's 7 weeks of regular season, and yeah. All right, I'm setting a timer for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, chat. You have 5 minutes for questions. If none, then we'll just wrap up the show.
Heck yeah. Sounds like a plan to me.
So. Yeah. I am like interested to see like if there are going to be any final changes to like any rosters pre-roster lock-in, so to speak. Yeah, so that'd be interesting.
Question from Rushology actually.
Is Sparta this season, word to Joe from New York, a night and day difference?
Compared to last season?
Yeah, compared to last season, I would say yes and no. I think like it's hard to say, because like they're like obviously like, no offense, Rush, but definitely stinking it up in Sparta for the past 2 seasons that I've been in it. I would have to say you no longer being in it makes some competition healthier to an extent. But there's also other names that are just like not in it that I think are very like Ninja's now up in Sparta, and like he's been performing, so like that's a very good positive.
Yeah. I do think there's like a really good quality of competition. Not even just in Sparta, like I think across OSL, I think this season. Maybe not in the lower divisions actually.
Not
but at least
Delphi.
In Athens and Sparta.
Delphi is a hot mess right now.
Yeah, and Creed's kind of like, there's like 3 top teams in Creed. Everyone's like, yeah, we're gonna lose to these teams, and it's like hands down. But like other than that, like you know, so I think Sparta and Athens, I think both of those divisions are pretty competitive. So.
Yeah, I think Sparta's pretty competitive. Why are you hating on Delphi? Not hating, just saying like I think Delphi is very like, there are very clearly teams that are very good.
It's like how
it's just
it's like how there was
unbalanced.
last season.
Yeah, it's just very unbalanced. There's like the Sparta drop downs that come from Sparta to Delphi are much stronger than a lot of the Athens players that drop down to Sparta. Yeah, Delphi.
I will say I've had Delphi players try to ego me in my rank games, and I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
It's really weird having a Delphi player try to ego you when you're in Sparta or Athens. Like it's incredibly weird. Incredibly.
If I'm playing Bake Kujira support, like you know I'm not trying. like don't correct my build. Like Like for all you know, this shit's a god request. Like, come on, man.
And having like
So, I was
one
like-
tricks be like, yeah, I'm so much better than you. You're ready to get carried again? Like day of draft was just like I'm like, bruh,
Yeah.
like what is this? Oh no, day of GA was what it was. I'm just like, this is so weird, man. Like there's no way.
You know. I will say though, I think a lot of this season, I think there's a lot more teaching happening from upper divisions to lower divisions.
Yes.
Which is making it really cool.
Yes.
I've been a part of helping out the Wards Albion Crete team, and they're finding really good success. Whether they're winning their sets or they're losing them, they're not losing them like 2-0 or anything like that, which is always good. Like they're getting points every week, which is dope.
Yeah.
And like even like VOD reviewing with like Royal Jesters Crete, or helping out Going Ghosts Crete with like issues that they might be having in like picks and ban and stuff. Like I feel like this is a season where like lower division teams are getting a lot of upper division help, and that's just good for the scene. Like that's just overall a positive.
Yep.
So
I agree. Any other questions, chat? We got a few more minutes. We got like 1 minute left here on the clock. So any final questions for me or Hydra regarding OSL or for our teams? Obviously, Hydra, you're playing on the Athens team now coming up.
yeah.
When's your first scrim?
I actually don't know when my first scrim is. It's sometime this week. It's not Saturday because I'm going to be in Cincinnati. But as I said, I will not be here Saturday, so it's definitely not Saturday. But I mean, obviously I'm excited to play on a roster as a starter. I just so happen to be back at the org that's given me a home for the last 2 seasons.
Hell yeah.
I was in Cardinals chat last night, and he was saying like, hey, like, dude, like, sad to see you go from Dargans, but the only good thing about you leaving the team is that you're going back to Wards of Albion, and that's like an org that's treated you really well, and I couldn't agree more. I think the org treated me really, really well. So I'm obviously excited to play for Majin, play for his Athens team. So
Yep, agreed.
excited to see what we can get rolling.
All right, our timer just went. Let's wrap up the show. Okay.
Send us home.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This has been our 5th episode. This has been a really successful show for us so far.
I love doing it.
It's been great. It's been a lot of
fantastic.
fun. The interaction for the chat is always appreciative. Same time, same place next week. We'll be streaming week 6. Obviously, talk about predictions. We will have a tier list reveal next week, so stay tuned for that. This is Sparta specific.
You want to do an Athens and Sparta one? I think that'd be great.
Do we want to
concept.
do one for every division, man, and just stir the pot like there's no tomorrow?
Oh, that'd be dope. Yeah, and having like the green room tier list.
Oh my god, that would be kind of dope. I mean,
Or that could just be the show next week.
that could be the show.
We
next
quickly
week.
talk about our we quickly talk about like our team's results and stuff, and then tier lists.
That's a lot of. We'll see. That's a lot of work because like I don't even know like the Crete teams. Like I don't know the Delphi.
I got
teams.
you. I got you.
God.
In Delphi.
Okay.
I got inside information.
All right. We'll see. Okay. But yeah, we'll do like a big tier list reveal next week at next week's show.
Ooh, this will be fun.
Same time, same place. Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've been Spiritedbook, joined here once again by my co-host Hydra. You can watch us and listen to this VOD on YouTube and on Spotify. On YouTube, it's youtube.com/spiritedbook. And on Spotify, it's at Warriors of Albion Greenroom Podcast on Spotify. I believe I also have to upload episode 4 from last week onto Spotify. It's outdated. It needs to be put up on. It was Wednesday, I think, and I was like, shoot, I still haven't uploaded the YouTube video, the VOD to YouTube and to Spotify.
It's valid.
So it's a lot of work.
It's valid.
And
It is.
I'm pretty sure I have ADHD, so I very easily forget things. Keep up with that. Obviously, subscribe to the YouTube channel to keep up on anything up to date for the Green Room podcast. I'm sure Hydra and I will create more content in the future, past OSL and beyond. And so we will see you guys next time. We'll do this again because it's been fun.
Hell yeah.
Take care, everyone. Have a good night.
Catch your chat.